watching Shalom TV, celebrating Jewish culture. Funding for Shalom TV has been provided by the following. And by viewers like you.
I'm Mark Golub, and I'm sitting right now in the Israeli consulate in New York City with a very lovely human being who I'm pleased to say is a friend, Yoel Lion, who is the Director of Information here at the Israeli consulate. Thank you for spending a moment with us, Yoel.
Thank you very much, Mark.
I want to talk to you about some of the issues that troubling America and American Jews. I simply would love you to express what you understand the best Israeli answers to be to some of the concerns, okay?
As I am the official spokesperson of Israel in the tri-state area, it will be my honor and my pleasure to try to do it.
Thank you, Yoel. Look, you've seen the number of criticisms that have been written. Europe has savaged the state of Israel, and even in America you see columnists who write all the time now that Israel somehow bungled an operation, shot itself in the foot. Christoph had an op-ed piece in the New York Times, which the Times entitled "Saving Israel from Itself." And in it he called Israel obtuse for using lethal force on self-described peace activists in international waters with scores of reporters watching. Yoel, did Israel bungle this operation? Was Israel obtuse for in somehow boarding these ships and ultimately doing things that led to 9 deaths?
Look, let's try to see the picture. You have 6 ships trying to break a blockade, and they said on 27th of May, Greta Berlin, who is one of the organizers of this flotilla, said that it's not about humanitarian aid, it's about breaking the blockade. Mm-hmm. So you know the intentions of this people. Mm-hmm. 6 ships coming close to Israel's water, 5 ships surrounding without any violence, without any problem. On the 6th ship, our people, and we knew that there will be violence there.
You did know?
We knew. There was no alternative.
Were the Israelis properly prepared for the violence they knew was coming?
The Israelis came down with paintball guns because we saw violence coming up. It's like dispersing riot, non-lethal weapons. That was the reason that they shot. There are enough footage from the operation where you see the Israelis coming down with these paintball guns.
I'm sorry, you said that you expected violence.
We expected violence. We didn't expect...
And you think paint guns were going to do the trick?
For violence? Yes, of course. We expected riots.
That's all you got, by the way. You got riots.
We got the riots on board.
Okay,
that's what we expected.
Okay, you expected it, but you thought you were going to be able to deal with these riots with paint guns and not live ammunition.
You know, I was lately with my son, and we had this paintball game, and I was shot here on my where my kippah is now. And yes, if you got one shot from this paintball gun, you say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yes, but obviously the paint guns were not sufficient.
That's the reason that it was reluctantly given the order to use live ammunition. The people were waiting for our guys. They wanted to make this media stand. No, the alternative was to let this ship go to Gaza without checking them, and open a door to illegal smuggling of missiles.
We understand
Israel.
that. We understand that completely. We understand that Israel had to stop. You had to stop this flotilla. The question is, did you stop it in a way that was bungled, or did you stop it in a way that you feel was appropriate?
I don't think that we have to deal now with the question how we stop
Excuse me.
the flotilla.
You know, this is the entire discussion in the American media, in the European media. It's all about how it was done.
It's about how it was done, and the ways it was done was the way to have as less casualties as possible. Was the only way. You don't want to have the flotilla coming near to the coast because you don't want to have other flotillas of fishermen, of fisher boats coming to them. You couldn't stop the ship with, let's say, with nets on the engines because it's a huge ship, and to throw into the port of Ashdod will take days, and you would have a humanitarian crisis on the ship.
We understand.
So the whole story, we are talking about around 2 to 3 minutes to take over the ship. After 15 minutes, the ship was totally clear.
Was it a bungled mission?
No, it was not a bungled mission.
Fine.
We had the elite commander of the Israeli army. They cannot bungle a mission.
Fine. Now, was it disproportionate force?
It was not disproportionate force. As I said, we came down with paintball guns. We came down without the wish and with an order not to use lethal weapon. The moment that our people faced electric saw, knives, one of our guys was stabbed by a knife, firing of live ammunition on our troops, then the order was given to fire back.
Was there faulty intelligence?
I don't think there was faulty intelligence, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a military expert. I mean, the army is right now checking itself and checking to see what has been done, what was wrong, what was good, what as usual. So your reaction to the Christoph article would be that his description of Israel as A, obtuse, B, shooting itself in the foot, and 3, shooting America in the foot at the same time is what? Is a false description, is a misunderstanding of the situation. What we have done, we are trying here to avoid another round of violence in the region by stopping this boat, as America is doing it all over the world in international seas when they think that somebody is breaking a blockade, as John Fitzgerald Kennedy was doing it at the time of the Cuba blockade, and so on and so forth. We have tons of examples. It's not the problem now of examples. We don't have to talk about the other examples.
I agree with you.
Now, the point is, we are trying to stop the smuggling of missiles and arms to the Gaza Strip. One way is to stop the ships coming to Gaza. The other way is to stop it at the tunnels, what the Egyptians are trying to do. So we are working together with the Egyptians to have a blockade on Gaza. It's not a blockade against the people of Gaza. It's a blockade against the terror organization Hamas, which is trying to have a new round of violence, to have a Middle East in fire because it's good for them.
Let me pick up on the notion of the blockade, which is also one of the issues that troubles both Americans and American Jews. It's interesting, Israelis call it a blockade. You know, Hamas and the Palestinians are calling it a siege, and it's a very different concept. I want to come back to the Christoph editorial. Okay. From Christoph, when you visit Gaza, he writes, you see the siege has accomplished nothing except to devastate the lives of 1.5 million ordinary Gazans. And he then quotes the Israeli human rights group Gisha, which has compiled a list of goods that Israel typically blocks from Gaza. And when you describe the blockade as a means of self-defense, I believe there's no question that there is pro-Israeli sentiment behind you. The question that you see discussed now in the American media and in the European media is it really limited to issues that would impact on security? Or is it really Israel's attempt to make the lives of Gazans uncomfortable in order that they should throw Hamas out? So therefore, why would notebooks, blank paper, writing utensils, chocolate, fishing rods, why are those things at all a matter of this blockade? Why would Israel care whether chocolate gets into Gaza?
First of all, that's not true. That's not true.
Gisha is wrong.
Gisha is wrong because there is no list of products who are forbidden to go into Gaza. First of all, second, let me continue on this same thing.
All right.
Mr. Christo was not at the Cactus Roots restaurant on Cairo Road in Gaza, where they have chocolate cake, and I can give you the menu of the restaurant there. So the only question is, if Israel would allow this chocolate to be sold into Gaza, because chocolate is coming in through the international organizations. There is a big difference between goods coming into Gaza through international aid and international organization. And in a week we have 18,000 tons of goods coming into Gaza. Now, only for you to understand, the flotilla, I will talk in pounds. So 18 million kilo, it's 36 million pounds. Okay, 36 million pounds of goods coming into Gaza in 1 week.
Through the Israeli border.
Through the Israeli border. Okay, I'm trying to transfer the tons in pound, but you know what is a ton, so only to have some notion. These goods are coming, there are two kinds of goods. There are the goods for the traders and the goods through the humanitarian organization. For traders, we know who are the people with money in Gaza. The Hamas people. The poor Gazans cannot afford to buy chocolate. They are receiving chocolate through the international organization, they cannot buy chocolate. So the rule is, if you take chocolate, the chocolate cannot go through for a trader, but it's going through to an international organization. I haven't heard an international organization who couldn't bring chocolate through. Second, tons of meat, fruits, vegetables every day. Even when Israel is bombarded by Qassam rockets on civilian communities, passages are open and people are getting the food in. No luxury articles are allowed. Why? Again, because they are going to the Hamas leader, not to the people. Yesterday on CNN, it was in Rick's list, and I don't remember who was the reporter in Gaza, and he was asked, do you see a humanitarian crisis here? He said, no, the problem is not the lack of goods. The stores are full. The problem is the lack of money of the people. It's not a question. It means that things are going in. It means that there is not a lack of food. By the way, this humanitarian aid on the ships was stopped by the Hamas, and they didn't let the trucks coming into the Gaza Strip with this thing on the ship. So it was the emergency of the situation, but that's by the way. So I say that are lies. What I think, we are here in a campaign of delegitimization of the state of Israel. We are here in a deeper campaign. It's not the problem of the flotilla. It's not the problem if our soldiers shot first or there were other who shot first. The problem is, does the Jewish people has a right to have an independent country in the Middle East? And that's the question. The moment that the other side will accept this phrase, there will be peace.
I appreciate what you're saying. We're going to stay on this for one more moment. What about construction materials? And this
only last week we had 20 tons of cement, 18 tons of iron. Please check the numbers. I'm telling to everyone, check the numbers. It's open numbers I could have bring you now and show to everyone on the camera and so on. I have the numbers. I have the official numbers, how many tons of iron and cement are coming into Gaza.
Okay, so when Charlie Rose goes on PBS television and says Israel is not letting construction materials into Gaza, he is misinformed.
He's misinformed. Sometime yes, sometime no. Depends on the situation, and depends what is the project also. We're not letting cement, freely going in.
Okay, you know that on American television, it's said by reporters and journalists all the time that Israel is not permitting construction material into Gaza for Gaza to rebuild after Operation Cast Lead.
There is not enough cement and iron going in because the things going in are under control of the international aid organizations in order to see and to understand where it's going. Because cement and iron can also be used as weapons. So the reason is it's dual use. So the reason that it's only partially let it in, that's the reason. And checked.
So now come back to the reason for the blockade. And again, there is the safety issue, but there is been suggested that one of the reasons why there is this blockade is to encourage the people of Gaza to look at the West Bank, see how Fatah is making life better for the Palestinians on the West Bank, and in hope that you will encourage Gazan Palestinians to rise up and sort of throw the bums out and in essence destroy Hamas from within. Is that one of the goals of the blockade?
When the former central left government of the State of Israel decided to have a blockade on the Gaza Strip, it was after Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip and Hamas took over by a military putsch, killing hundreds of Palestinians. They took over the power and they declared war to Israel. So on this base of a declared war between entities, we will call it a state and an entity, a blockade is a legal weapon in this war. As a legal weapon, we have the blockade. It has nothing to do with a punishment, because if you see it like you put it, it's like a punishment for the Palestinian people, and it's not a punishment, it is the way how blockades are made between two conflicting parties.
So you reject this notion?
I reject this notion.
Okay, very important. It is obvious and clear that the U.S. is Israel's most important ally. And there are sometimes Israelis will say to me, we depend on the United States. And then there's been this friction between the Obama administration and Israel. To what extent has this event, this flotilla event, and the ongoing problem that Israel has with the fact that other boats are now going to try to break this blockade, has there been in your mind any diminution, any destructive element in the relationship between the United States and Israel?
I will quote a very important American and let the people decide. Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States of America, talking about the flotilla, said Israel has the right for self-defense. I think it says it all.
I agree with you, and I think it's all nonsense, and that Israel has American support in Congress, has American support within the American people, and also within the administration. But there are many people who are going to continue to write that what Israel is doing is weakening its relationship to the United States.
I don't want to be involved in internal American politics. And I think it's very, very, very connected to this.
I agree with you. I want to articulate one last issue for you. There are American Jews who are passionate about the defense of the State of Israel and who look at the public relations nightmare that has erupted after this incident and are worried about the Israeli future. It's as if nothing Israel can ever do will satisfy people. That Israel is in a no-win situation, and that the basic point you made a few moments ago, that this is really about whether Israel has the right to exist as a safe and secure Jewish state in the Middle East, democracy, whether in fact the world will just leave the Jews alone. And I'm worried, I hear this all the time, that Israel is in such a no-win situation, that what can it do vis-a-vis this overwhelming amount of world opinion that tends to condemn Israel every single chance it gets? Double standard as clear as can be, but the bottom line is the headlines are the headlines in the European newspapers and even in the American newspapers at times, and even at times in some Israeli newspapers. So I'm asking you now, Yoel, I'm asking, person to person here, Jew to Jew here, what can you say to those American Jews who are watching right now? I will to give them some sense,
of course,
that this is not, we're looking at the end here.
I will quote a very wise Jew called King Solomon. He said, "There is nothing new under the sun." It's our history. I mean, we survived everything. We survived the pharaohs. Yeah, we survived the pharaohs. We survived all the empires. We survived everything, and we are still here. So I think that it's our belief in our values. It's our belief that we are right. It's our belief in democracy. It's our belief in pluralism, which will also help us to survive all this crisis.
Yoel Lion, I thank you so much for giving us some time, and you articulate the Israeli position beautifully. It is my hope, and I speak for so many of our viewers, that Israel does know peace, and that somehow the world will become sane again. So kol tuv v'hatzlacha, and we will speak often. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you very, very, very much.
If you'd like to be in touch with Yoel, please feel free to email me, and I will pass your emails on to Yoel. As always, I would love to hear any of your own reactions to the ideas expressed by Yoel Lion. Please be in touch with me this week. Until the next time, I'm Mark Golub. Be well, my friends.
We would be pleased to send a complimentary DVD of this program to anyone who can send a tax-deductible contribution of $36 or more to the nonprofit organization Jewish Education in Media to help support our programming. Tax-deductible checks may be made out to GEM and mailed to GEM, Post Office Box 180, Riverdale Station, Bronx, New York, 10471. Please indicate the program for which you would like a DVD, and we thank you for your kind support.